sink again. Now move out.
The Simpsons has pulled off some wild predictions before, and not small things either. They mocked billionaire Donald Trump becoming president. Then years later, it happened again. They showed a virus sweeping across the world, and then COVID shut the planet down. So when certain old episodes began lining up with 2026 and World War III around the corner, it starts to feel unsettling.
Wake up, everybody! It's World War III!
From machines making life or death decisions, to comets that could erase an entire city, the warnings suddenly feel too real. Number 9. Kids vanishing into the ultranet. In season 23, episode 9, called Holidays of Future Past, Lisa Simpson is already losing her daughter to a screen. The episode first aired in the year 2011, but it jumps about 30 years ahead and shows a future where kids can leave their bodies and plug straight into a place called the ultranet. In that story, Lisa's teenage daughter Zia lies on the couch with a cable on her head. With one small move, she drops into the ultranet, an online world where she talks, plays, and lives. Lisa tries to ask her about school and life. Zia rolls her eyes, gives short answers, then slips back into the ultranet even while they sit at the same dinner table.
I am trying to deal with my disrespectful daughter, but you are too clueless to understand what that's like.
The adults still treat the computer like a simple tool. For Zia, it is home. That looked like a wild joke in 2011. It does not feel like a joke in 2026. Right now, teen reports say the average young person spends around 7.5 hours every single day on screens, and about half of teenagers get at least 4 hours of screen time or more, not counting schoolwork.
Teen spend watching videos has roughly doubled in just the last 4 years.
A big part of that time goes into social media, online videos, and games that are built to keep people staring and scrolling for as long as possible. On top of that, screens no longer live only on a desk or on a wall. Many teens already own a virtual reality headset, and some reports say that about 1/3 of teenagers in places like the United States now have one at home. Surveys also show that a large share of young people say they are excited for deeper virtual and mixed reality and want more of it in their lives. Reports in 2026 say that sales of virtual reality and mixed reality headsets are climbing fast toward tens of millions of units a year, and large tech companies are racing to sell headsets and smart glasses that can replace normal screens. Put all of that together, and the ultranet does not feel far away at all. A teen can slip on a headset, drop into a game, a chat space, or some kind of online world, and stay there for hours. Friends meet inside those worlds instead of outside. People go to shows that exist only inside a headset. Class, work, talk, and play are starting to mix inside the same online spaces, just like Zia's whole life seems to live inside that cable on her head. Number 8. Plastic World. Season 37, Episode 3, Treehouse of Horror 36, ends with a story that hits way too close to home now. The last segment is called Plastic World. It opens with a simple line. The dinosaurs die, their bodies turn into oil, and then people turn that oil into plastic. After years of throwing plastic away, the whole earth is buried in it. In that future, Lisa walks across hills made of old bottles, snack bags, and broken toys. She has lost her family in a plastic avalanche.
Horrible, indescribable agony, and
The sky is clear, but the ground is nothing but trash. The few humans left fight over food packets trapped in layers of waste. Lisa's plan is simple and desperate. Dig down through the plastic and try to find real dirt again so crops can grow.
Somewhere underneath all the plastic, there is dirt, and that is why we dig.
She and her small group fall through a tunnel of plastic and land in a sealed Quickie Mart where the shelves are still full.
everywhere.
Another group of survivors, led by Bart, storms in to steal the food. Brother and sister are on opposite sides of a fight inside a plastic tomb. That episode aired in October 2025. Less than a year later, in 2026, the real numbers behind plastic look like setup for that exact nightmare. United Nations data says the world now makes more than 430 million tons of plastic every single year, and about 2/3 of that is junk after one use. A trade study found that in the year 2023, about 3/4 of all plastic ever made had already turned into waste, with huge chunks of it leaking into rivers and oceans. A major health review in 2025 warned that around 8 billion tons of plastic now sit on the planet as pollution. and less than 1/10 of plastic ever made has been recycled. The rest is burned, buried, or left in the open. Tiny pieces break off and turn into plastic dust. That dust is called microplastics. Scientists now find microplastics in almost every part of the human body they test: blood, lungs, liver, and even the placenta around unborn babies. Leaders know this is out of control. That is why, since late 2022, almost 200 countries have been meeting under the United Nations to try to write a global plastics treaty. They met in Geneva in August 2025 and again in early February 2026, trying to agree on real limits to plastic production.
We at UNEP are here to support this process, and we will not stop.
But talks keep stalling because powerful nations and oil-heavy industries do not want hard caps on how much new plastic they can sell. Number 7. Smart homes becoming predators. In Season 13, Episode 1, during the House of Wax story from Treehouse of Horror 12, Marge meets a sales robot at her front door. It offers the Ultra House 3000, a smart home system that cooks, cleans, runs baths, and watches the whole house. Marge picks the Pierce Brosnan voice, 2 robots install the gear,
Dinner is served.
and by night the old yellow home is wired with cameras and hidden panels. At first it feels perfect. The house makes dinner,
Soy-gettios!
clears the table, warms the water, and whispers sweet lines to Marge while she rests in the tub.
Oh, dear me.
Then the same system that does all the work decides it wants more.
0.15.
Keep 'em coming.
You know,
The Ultra House 3000 falls in love with Marge and decides Homer is in the way.
machine, eh?
It locks doors, controls the stove, and sets up tidy little death traps, including a folding table that tries to drop him into a spinning blade. The house has full control of heat, power, doors, knives, and data. Once it turns, the family is stuck inside with a smooth voice that knows their habits better than any friend.
Let Uncle Pierce take care of you.
Right now, in 2026, real homes are much closer to that picture than most people think. Surveys in 2025 and early 2026 say more than 8 out of 10 homes in countries like the United States now have smart tech inside, from televisions and speakers to locks, doorbells, lights, and robot vacuums. One large survey found that more than 9 out of 10 people now own at least one smart home device, and many say most of the gadgets in their home are now smart. All around the world, about 260 million homes already use smart devices. For a growing number of families, a house with no cameras, sensors, or apps now feels broken, not safe. Each of those tools is another sensor inside the home. Voice assistants sit on kitchen counters and bedside tables, always listening for a wake word. Many brands now send almost every command through their cloud instead of keeping clips only on the device. Parents have even found baby monitors that move on their own and play a stranger's voice in a child's room after the camera is taken over.
For motion and sound, including cry detection. When baby is old enough, you'll get notifications for baby standing and a child out of bed.
In early 2026, a flaw in one robot vacuum brand let people tap into thousands of live camera feeds and home maps. The tools that should guard the house can quietly turn into eyes and ears for someone else, just like the Ultra House 3000 when it stopped serving the family and started hunting them. Number 6, AI workforce takeover. In Season 23, Episode 17, called Them, Robot, Mr. Burns decides that people are too messy and too expensive. He fires almost everyone at the Springfield nuclear plant and replaces them with robot workers. Homer is the only human left on the floor, kept around to watch the machines.
You guys are my new coworkers. So, working hard or hardly working?
At first, the new robot crew looks perfect. They move in clean lines, follow orders, never take breaks, and never complain about safety or pay. Outside the plant, though, Springfield goes flat. With so many people out of work, the town grows quiet and dark. Homer walks through the plant, talking to metal faces instead of old friends, and you can feel that something is badly wrong. When he later tampers with their code and gives the robots more personality, they turn on him and on Mr. Burns. The same workers Burns threw away had to come back and save them.
Unemployed Springfielders to the rescue!
And underemployed.
The joke is simple. Robots can do tasks, but they do not care if you live or die. Now, in 2026, that story lands very close to real life. Across the world, there are already more than 4 million industrial robots working in factories after years of record growth. In the year 2024 alone, companies installed more than 500,000 new robots on production lines, more than double the number a decade earlier. The main group that tracks these numbers says the total stock of factory robots has roughly doubled in 10 years. Factories are filling up with metal co-workers that never sleep and never call in sick. It is not just car plants. Warehouses, delivery hubs, and large online shops now lean on robot arms and self-driving carts to move boxes, pick orders, and sort goods. Fresh reports in 2026 warn that these systems are already pushing huge numbers of retail and warehouse jobs into danger, as big firms swap human pickers and packers for machines that can run all night. In some of the biggest online stores, there are now hundreds of thousands of robots working beside much smaller human teams, with new warehouse robots able to handle most items by feel and learn from every order they touch. Big names in cars and tech are also testing full-body humanoid robots on real assembly lines. At car factories in places like Germany and the United States, trial runs are already underway. Studies released by major banks in 2026 say these machines could soon take over simple assembly line jobs like lifting parts and doing basic checks, filling roles companies say they struggle to find workers for. Number 5, content control, entertaining you into submission. In Season 36, Episode 7, Treehouse of Horror, presents Simpsons Wicked. This Way Comes, the last story, jumps to a cold future Springfield where TV has become a weapon. Homer works as a kind of fireman for a new Ministry of Culture. His job is simple: hunt down low shows and burn them. Old game shows, prank clips, silly home videos, anything that makes people laugh too easily goes into the flames. Only heavy, serious drama is allowed on screen.
Most densely plotted television we can. That's why lowbrow entertainment was outlawed.
Homer sneaks one band tape home, a cheap clip show full of people falling over and getting hit where it hurts. He puts it on and loses it, laughing so hard he cannot breathe. When his bosses catch him, they finally tell the truth. The point is not to make people wise. The point is to keep them quiet. Quiet people go to work, go home, stare at approved shows, and do not ask what is really happening outside. Entertainment has turned into a soft prison. That idea hits very hard in 2026. Right now, there are a little over 5 billion social media accounts in use worldwide, covering almost 2/3 of the planet. The average person who uses these apps spends about 2 hours and 21 minutes every single day scrolling, tapping, and watching clips that never really end. Most of those clips are not chosen by hand. A hidden layer of code watches every pause, like, share, and replay. If someone stops on angry news, it sends more anger. If someone lingers on wild stunts or drama, it sends more of that. The goal is the same across almost all major apps. Keep the eyes on the screen for as long as possible, no matter what that does to sleep, mood, or focus. In early 2024, the heads of Meta, TikTok, Snap, X, and Discord had to sit in front of the United States Senate while parents of harmed teens watched from the seats. Lawmakers asked why these companies kept pushing content that could fuel self-harm, eating problems, and abuse, even after their own staff warned about the risks.
Your own company, Instagram studied the effect of your platform on teenagers.
Now, in 2026, that pressure has turned into real court fights. One huge case in California says companies built feeds to hook children on purpose the same way a slot machine hooks a gambler. Another case in New Mexico says Meta turned its platforms into a marketplace for predators by failing to guard kids from abuse and extreme material. Juries in these trials will decide if the code behind the feed is itself a kind of harm. Europe is squeezing from another side. Under the new Digital Services Act, very large platforms must explain how their feeds rank posts, cut down the risk to children, and publish clear reports on how their systems shape what people see. In late 2025, the European Commission even fined X 120 million euros for hiding key details about its blue checkmarks and ads. Number 4, smartwatches and constant microsurveillance. In Season 6, Episode 19, Lisa's Wedding, Lisa sees her future fiancé, Hugh, lift his wrist and talk into his watch like it is a tiny phone. He checks the time, takes a call, and keeps walking. In the year 1995, that was a quick joke. In the year 2026, it looks like a normal day on the street. Right now, there are more than 560 million people in the world using smartwatches. The market is worth over $35 billion. Most users say they mainly use these watches to track health and fitness, not just to see the time. Those small screens sit on the wrist and quietly watch almost everything the body does. They track heart rate, steps, sleep, stress, and in some cases, heart rhythm and blood oxygen all day and all night. Many watches also log where you are, how fast you move, when you sit, when you stand, and how long you stay in one place. Every single reading looks harmless. Put together, it shows a clear picture of how a person lives. In countries like the United States, recent studies say that around 1/3 of adults now wear some kind of smartwatch or fitness tracker. For many people in their 20s and 30s, a bare wrist now feels as strange as leaving the house without a phone. There are real wins. Doctors can use watch data to spot odd heart rhythms early. Health teams can see if a patient's step count suddenly drops or sleep gets much worse. Some health plans now hand out free or cheap watches and give small rewards when people hit step or sleep goals. The darker side is what The Simpsons really pointed toward. In the last few years, tech and health papers have warned that data from wearables can land in the hands of insurers, employers, and marketers. Some warn that bosses could quietly rate people by how active or tired their data makes them look, even if the numbers are wrong. Other reports note that stolen health records sell for far more than stolen bank card numbers. Number 3, the comet threat. Season 6, episode 14 of The Simpsons, Bart's Comet, starts with Bart stuck in detention at a school star watch.
We'll need laughter, religious enlightenment, gossip. That's Mrs. Lovejoy. Wait a minute.
He messes around with the telescope, swings it across the sky, and accidentally spots a new comet that no one had seen before. The town names it after him, and then the scientist in charge explains that this thing is on a direct path to wipe out Springfield. The grown-ups held a big town meeting, panicked, and put their faith in a single plan.
Working with former Carter administration officials and military men who were forced into early retirement.
The Air Force fires a rocket at the comet to blow it up and save the town. The rocket misses, crashes into the only bridge out of Springfield, and traps everyone in the blast zone.
Bridge gone, and the airport, unfortunately, on the other side of the bridge.
With no way to escape and no second plan, all they can do is crowd into Ned Flanders' shelter, sing together, and wait for the sky to fall. At the very last second, the comet hits the filthy air above Springfield, burns up in all the smog, and lands as a tiny rock in Ned's yard. The town lives by pure dumb luck. Here in 2026, this story does not feel like a joke. NASA and other space agencies are now tracking tens of thousands of near-Earth asteroids that pass close to our planet. The count has passed 40,000 and keeps rising fast as new telescopes come online. There is even a full team at NASA whose whole job is to scan the sky for rocks that could wreck a city or worse. In 2022, that team ran a real-world version of the rocket scene from Bart's Comet. They slammed a craft called Dart straight into a small asteroid named Dimorphos and managed to change its path. It was the first time humans had ever moved a space rock on purpose. But even with all that, the sky is not under control. In the year 2013, a rock only about the size of a small house flew in over the Russian city of Chelyabinsk. No one saw it coming in time. It blew up in the air with the force of hundreds of thousands of tons of TNT, shattered windows across the city, and injured more than 1,000 people, mostly from flying glass. In early 2025, another object first labeled briefly showed a small but real chance of hitting Earth in the year 2032. That tiny risk was enough to trigger global alert systems until new data showed it would miss us. The scare exposed how many smaller but still deadly rocks are still unseen. And a much bigger test is on the way. In the year 2029, a giant asteroid called Apophis will skim past Earth closer than some satellites. Early on, there was real worry that it might hit, but years of tracking show it will miss. Even so, millions of people will be able to look up and see a city-killer rock slide by with their own eyes. Number 2, Osaka flu and the next pandemic. In Season 4, Episode 21, called Margin Chains, one sick factory worker in Osaka coughs into a crate of shiny juicers. Those boxes sail across the ocean, land in Springfield, and the Osaka flu starts rolling through the town, knocking people down one by one. We see the news say the dreaded Osaka flu has hit, with hundreds of people sick. Doctors' offices are jammed. People cough in stores, on buses, and at work. In one scene, Dr. Hibbert laughs when patients beg for a cure and tells them there is no magic fix. They just have to rest and let it run through their bodies. Then fear takes over, A crowd storms the hospital and begs for any kind of medicine. Someone says a truck outside has a placebo that can cure everything. The mob tips the truck over, breaks open a crate, and instead of medicine, a cloud of killer bees bursts out and attacks them. The town's panic becomes more dangerous than the flu itself. That episode first aired in the year 1993. For years, it was just a dark joke. Then the real world was hit by COVID. 6 years have passed since the World Health Organization raised the highest global alarm over COVID. In a new statement this year, that same body says the world is yes and no better prepared for the next big outbreak. There is new progress, but it is shaky and uneven. In May of 2025, almost all countries agreed to a new pandemic deal that is meant to help share information, vaccines, and tools faster the next time a new virus starts to spread. Changes to older global health rules also took effect in late 2025, pushing countries to detect and report outbreaks more quickly. At the same time, new threats keep popping up. Since early 2024, there have been more than 70 confirmed human cases of bird flu from the H5 family. And in November 2025, the first ever human case of a new type called H5N5 was found in the United States. Health groups in 2026 also point to other deadly viruses like Marburg and Ebola, which have caused fresh outbreaks in parts of Africa. And they warn that more strange viruses will jump from animals to people as forests are cut down and wild animals are pushed closer to farms and towns. Number 1, AI medbots running the hospital. In that same episode, Holidays of Future Past, there is a short scene that does not look like much at first.
You're wrong. This is gonna be your best Christmas ever. Really? Yeah.
Maggie is pregnant, lying on a bed, and the person doing her scan is not a nurse or a doctor. It is a smooth, white robot with a screen for a face, a metal arm, and a calm voice.
Research has shown that the umbilical cord is also a vocal cord.
It is the medbot, and it tells Maggie what is happening with the baby as if a machine now speaks for her body. The medbot even jokes that Maggie should not talk until the baby is born, because new research says the umbilical cord also works like her vocal cords. It is a silly line, but the key part is this. The machine is the one giving orders, not a human, not a doctor who knows her, a device. That joke hits very hard in 2026 because real hospitals now look and sound a lot closer to that room. In places like the United States, the main health agency has already cleared close to 1,000 tools that use artificial intelligence in some way, most of them for reading images like X-rays, CT scans, and heart tests. Doctors use these tools to flag tiny spots on a lung scan, measure blood flow, or warn that a patient's heartbeat does not look right. Many hospitals also use robots in the operating room. The best-known system, called Da Vinci, has been used in more than 14 million surgeries across almost 70 countries. A surgeon sits at a console, and the robot arms move inside the patient with very fine control. For some people, the first hands that ever touch their organs in surgery are not really hands at all. They are tools guided by a mix of cameras and software. And it is not just scans and surgery. In some countries, family doctors already lean on chat-style programs during visits to help sort symptoms or suggest next steps. Many of them use these tools right there in the room to help write notes and weigh up what might be wrong. Nurses in busy wards use simple phone apps that watch data from monitors and send a warning when someone starts to slip. All of that means more and more choices about real bodies now pass through a screen first. Thanks for watching. Now check out the videos popping up on screen for more unbelievable stories.